Shop update, June 2023. So the ice storm we had a few months back totally decimated the fence, and so we had a new one built. And this is the first stage of rebuilding the shop. We have to build a new fence. So I think it came out pretty good, looks great, and it's going to be a really nice backdrop for the new shop. So stage 2 was to have the stump ground out. So we lost 2 trees during the ice storm. We had to have an arborist come and chop them down, but we have these stumps, and I can't put a slab for the new shop down until I get rid of the stump. And this is a remarkable machine. I've never seen anything like it. And it's got this huge blade up front, and it just kind of goes back and forth, deeper and deeper and deeper. I believe it gets rid of many of the larger roots as well. And this is the spot where we need to put down the slab. So quite a bit of cement is needed, and there's a bunch of wheelbarrows there, and there's a crew of guys just going back and forth, filling up the wheelbarrows and dumping it into the slab frame. So I took these shots from the bedroom window, that way I wouldn't freak out the crew with the camera, but all they're doing is bringing in all this concrete and pouring it in before they start to level it. So then after it cured for a bit, the crew left, and this one guy came in, and he was just doing this all by hand, just smoothing everything out. And he was there for quite a bit. And then here's my awesome slab, which is really cool because it means I can have rolling tool carts inside the shop now. And of course, rained non-stop after that. So I was able to design my shop, and I was landing on a particular style here of kind of like the single pitched roof and lots of windows. So I knew I wanted a double door French door made out of glass to let in natural light. I knew I wanted transom windows up on the top to let in natural light. And I wanted like 2 side windows. So that's kind of the gist of the design. And I went online, just on the internet, to kind of look at other people's shops, and I knew the aesthetic I was looking for, so I knew the color scheme that I wanted, and I knew how I wanted it to look and feel. But this is basically what I was kind of going for, so I was able to show the contractor what I wanted, and I got something pretty much exactly what I was looking for, which is just this style or aesthetic with lots and lots of natural light. So when I was choosing my paint scheme, I chose tricorn black from Sherwin-Williams, and this is the most neutral black that exists. Most blacks have a kind of purple or blue or red tint in them, and this one is very neutral, meaning that it's very, very dark and very bright. So it's one of the brightest blacks you can get. And then the complementary color, the white, is just the one that Sherwin-Williams recommended when you chose tricorn black. I can't remember the name, but it's essentially white. Right, so the workshop is pretty much complete with the exception of the transom windows up there. So these windows up on top haven't arrived yet. They're getting custom made in San Antonio. So it's not finished on the inside, and there's no electrical in here yet. That's okay, because that'll all happen eventually, but at least I have a roof over my head. What I'm going to do is start moving things in. So finally got my transom windows in. They look really good. And then once everything was kind of set up, we decided to burn some sage to get rid of the evil spirits. I don't know, whatever. I just do what the witches tell me. All right, quick shop tour. As it stands, this is just a work in progress. Everything is kind of organically moving around. So for example, I have a lot of my clamps up here, but I can't get to them because I moved the CNC here. So this is all gonna be a kind of a work in progress. I'm gonna move things around as I see fit, but we'll start on this end. I have a shelf here with some tools that I don't really use that often. So for example, my fret press is something I only use at the very end of a project. And I have a couple other fret presses, jointer, which I barely use, sander, polisher, etc. And in here, I have my shop vac. All my wet products are in here, so stains, sprays, glues. It's all ugly stuff that can be hidden away. My CNC here. Laser is here. Got his own dedicated spot. Got the drill press, bandsaw, which, don't really use that often. And this is my new rolling tool cart. So everything's being stored in there. And I got these little organizing bins, and it's working out pretty good. So the most used tools that used to be on a wall are now in here. So I'm still kind of debating whether or not I need most of these things, but you have all the fret kind of nippers, all the files. I use the little planes, I don't use the big planes very much. More fret files, scissors, which I use all the time. I barely use the chisels, but I do have them in here. Threading hammer, and then kind of files, which I do use. Now the calculator I use a lot, so that's kind of my main tool. Protractor I don't really use. Pliers sometimes, and a mallet. This is the drawer that gets used the most, so these are all the end mills for the CNC. And then this would be drill bits, step drill bits, drills. These are all drill bits. And there's some router bits in here too, but it's all self-contained in there. And then these are additional CNC table things, so anything you need to do to clamp things down for work holding on the CNC and locating pins. It's all CNC related. And then this is kind of miscellaneous stuff. I have a lot of the epoxy pigments and epoxy dyes, glues like super glues, hot glues, glue accessories for super glues, and I have some guitar polishing products in there as well. Miscellaneous stuffs like wires, gloves, tape, pencils, things like that. And then kind of the big stuff like surgical tubing, and then like your Y-axis chuck. A lot of the stands I use for guitars, goggles. And then over here, everything that's in like little bins. So M3 bolts, washers, heat shrink tubing, all the tiny little things. There's some fret erasers, grub screws, anything that needs to be kind of put in its own little tiny little cubby. And the big drawer here is for all the heavy tools, which I use not very often. So power drill, heat gun I use sometimes, oscillating saw, a bunch of other stuff, So this is really a remarkable way. This is the Yukon tool chest to really hide all the tools. So everything's gonna be on here nice and neat. And I still have triage up here, so I'm still kind of debating what stays in the shop, what goes into the house. So eventually this will all be an actual surface area I can use for guitar building. Everything's tucked away. And it's all because of this tool chest, which is amazing. And then my second tool chest is here. And does the same thing. So this one is not quite organized yet. I still am debating which tools I need to keep and which tools I need to move out. But it also does give me a surface area for magnetic things, and then kind of junk goes down there. I got this shelf, which I don't really think fits into the aesthetic of my look, but it's tall, and I have my shop filter in here. So this is the air filter that cleans the air and captures all the fine particles of dust. So I think that's pretty necessary. Here's my workbench. The workbench is also kind of being used for triage at the moment. So I have a lot of stuff I don't know what I'm going to do with. For the most part, all this is just triage at the moment. And I want to be able to walk around my bench. So that's why I have this going on here. and walk around it. And then this is kind of my camera setup. Well, it will be. So the camera will be here, and you'll have this view. This will be my YouTube view. Well, something like this. This is obviously an iPhone I'm holding, but it'll be a really cool view of me, my bench, whatever I'm working on, and then the backdrop will have some really pretty lights or something. Haven't decided that yet, but this is where it's going to be basically. If I can get this bench cleared, I can start working. And it's been tough without a shop, but I've had a lot of fun projects to do without a shop. So that's really cool. But I am going to be in this year's Great Guitar Build-Off, so I need to start working on that. That's the shop tour. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.